Hi, my name is Jared. I'm the founder of Keenforms. Today we're going to demonstrate how to build a simple form that generates quotes for a custom product. This form I'm showing here is for one of our customers, a company called Butcher Block Chicago. They needed a form that allows customers to generate their own quote for a custom Butcher Block countertop. They have several variables that go into the calculation of the price, including the size of the board, the wood species, the number of sink cutouts, the shape of the edge of the board, and the finish. They had a hard time using existing form builders out there because of all these variables. We were able to help build them a form because Keenforms has something called a rules engine that makes conditional logic and calculations more powerful than your average form builder. In this video, we're going to build a simplified version of this form so you can learn how to use Keenforms for your own business or service to be able to let customers get quotes for themselves. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to log into our account. This takes us to our dashboard and we're going to create a new Keenform. We're going to give that Keenform a name, and this one's going to be called Butcher Block Demo 1. And we click Save, and that will take us to the drag and drop editor. So it allows us to add form attributes, and we're going to start adding one. This one is for the wood species. It's a select drop down input, and we're going to add some options for this particular input, including maple and cherry and walnut. And I like to have a blank option, so when the input comes in, it forces the user to make a selection. This will be helpful later on when we start creating some of the application logic. This is the prompt. Select the wood species or wood type. Come back to the editor. We're going to add another drop down specifically for the board size. We're going to use a simplified version of this. So the demo with the Butcher Block countertop manufacturer, you could set a custom width and length. We're just going to use a couple of standard sizes to simplify the process. So we're just going to have three options: 24 by 48, 24 by 60, and 24 by 72. And we're also going to use the blank option as well with the prompt and make that the default option. We're going to click Save. That'll take us back to the editor, and we're going to have one more input. It's going to be for the price. So we're going to use the number input. It's going to be read-only. And now we have our form, and we can actually preview it, take a look at it. So all the inputs are functional, and now what we're going to do is we're going to use a feature in Keenforms that is unique to our application. It's called metadata, and metadata allows us to create information and data about our inputs that are beyond just the drop-down list. So one of the things that's always been frustrating when you have a single drop down is you have a one-dimensional list. And what happens if you have different currencies, or in this case, we have different wood species? And what we're going to do is we're going to create a column for each type of wood species and attach it to the board size. And there will be one column for the maple, one column for cherry, and one column for walnut. So we're creating each one of these columns for each type of wood species, and then those options, those spaces for data, will be available on the board size, and we'll be able to have different prices because different wood species cost different amounts. And when you combine metadata with our rules engine, it makes the form builder significantly more powerful than whatever you're using now, and it's why it's ideally suited for quotes and estimates. So we have these three new columns, these three new metadata types, and then we go back to the board size, and if we go down to these options, and now we have these additional places for the information based on the price for maple, cherry, or walnut, and we're going to put in values just to get started. It doesn't matter, they're random values, but you'll see how they come into play when we start creating form rules. So we're just going to throw in random numbers in these three different fields across the three different options. And then we're going to click Save. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start creating a form rule. And so the form rules for Keenforms is what makes it more powerful, and it allows us to apply application logic. So one of the rules we're going to create is setting the price if the wood species is maple. And so one of the nice things is it's got a very intuitive no code interface. So we're basically applying a condition here saying if the wood species selected is maple, then we are going to set the price the of the board based on the maple value column. And we're going to create two more rules that do the same thing for cherry and walnut. The form rules have different types. In this particular situation, we're setting a value. And so we're setting the price for cherry. You just click this button that inserts the value from that's been selected. It knows to get the right value based on if you selected 24 by 48, get the value from the maple or cherry column. And it knows it by using that condition. A form rule is made up of three parts. It's the rule type, which is what am I doing? What action am I taking? Am I setting a value? Am I hiding a value? The second thing that it cares about is what is the target? And we're setting the target as the price. And the third thing is optional. It's the condition. And this is the situation where in this particular situation, we're going to have different conditions for each type of wood species selected. So it knows which value to grab. And so now we have three form rules that set the value based on the wood species selected. We're also going to hide the price if there's not a wood species or board size selected. Here we're adding the condition. That's where that blank option comes in handy. If either of those values are the default blank option, it's just going to hide the price input. So we're going to reload this. And so now we have this demo of the form. And here we are. We're selecting these different sizes and wood species. And check it out. The price is automatically set. So one of the nice things about the way that Keenforms is designed is it makes it easy for a normal person to be able to change values. So one of the things that was frustrating to Butcher Block Chicago when they were using a custom form is every time the price of a wood would change, they'd have to go into either a database, there wasn't a user interface, or they'd have to get a coder to make the changes. That's what makes Keenforms more powerful. Is it means that when you need to make changes, you don't have to go to a programmer to make the changes yourself. You can just go in and update the price as you see fit, and that's what makes Keenforms amazing.